Welcome back to the Escape Collective Tour Daily Podcast, everybody. I'm Caley Fretz. We are probably a minute and a half away from Tadej Pogačar taking today's stage. We're up in Isola 2000. Johnny Long, that was dominant.
We saw Pogačar attack from the yellow jersey group, his yellow jersey group, to make yellow jersey group a 1. So munched Richard Carapaz. Then used Simon Yates as a bit of a toothpick to free up, some space for Matteo Jorgensen, who Pogačar really didn't, just sail past him, the final sort of twist the knife in this revenge tour of Slovenian.
The revenge tour, I think, is a good term for it. Pogačar, when he came up on Jorgensen, it was really, he made sure that there was not going to be anybody sticking on that wheel. He accelerated past him. Matteo had no answer. He's just crossed the line. You could probably hear the helicopter in the background there. Gives us a little bow. And, he took a minute on Evenepoel and Vingegaard in a K and a half, so it's going to be a minute and a half 2. Plus. Jorgensen's he's going to lose 20 seconds, but that was still a hugely impressive ride. Massive ride. And, I know they stuck him up there, him and Kelderman, they stuck him up there as sort of tactical options just in case Vingegaard was on some sort of blinder, but I think it's cool that they let him go for it anyway, right? Like they could have called him back for Vingegaard today, and they didn't, which I think was, good to let him at least try. Give Matteo something.
The exciting wrinkle of this is that Tadej Pogačar is not just ruining Jonas Vingegaard's tour, but he's extended that to all of his Melissa bike by absolutely crushing Matteo Jorgensen.
And as Dane Cash pointed out on WhatsApp, this may be a revenge tour, but Jorgensen hasn't even been on Visma for the past couple of years.
He didn't even do anything to you, Tadej. Leave him alone.
So it's just really, ricochet shots for everyone here. Amazingly impressive. One more road stage, not by any means.
It's a nasty one.
Yeah, and
today
then
was the Queen
trial
stage, but tomorrow is also very, very hard, starting in Nice.
But on this evidence,
here comes Remco did all of the pulling.
Yeah, he's going to be. I think he'll be a little bit mad with Vingegaard.
He maybe should have tried to hit him a couple more times, honestly.
Yeah, he did attack out the group to drag them clear. Keeps looking behind. Nope. Vingegaard's no more pulling. Now what we have to wait for here is if Vingegaard sprints in for the line, because there aren't any bonus points left. They are Remco's. Garmin stopped by Remco across the line. Little shake of hands as well between the two, being like, you know what?
For them, we do have tomorrow's mountain stage. I think Remco, like I said yesterday, does look better than Vingegaard at this point. And Remco is definitely time trialing better than Vingegaard at this point. So we do have that final day time trial, Monaco to Nice, with a big old climb, Col d'Ez. Joshua Robinson of the Wall Street Journal. Is Col d'Ez a hard climb?
Col d'Ez is a hard climb for me. It is not a hard climb for Tadej Pogačar, who...
It's flat.
It's basically flat. Literally, I've been dining out on this story for ages, but when I was out there last summer, I was riding up and suddenly I see these two beautiful white shadows ghost past me. And it's Tadej Pogačar and his partner, Urska, who is also a professional.
Wow. How fast were they going?
So fast. I felt like I was being passed by a car.
We're having a touching moment here. Vingegaard with his partner.
Yeah. Who we spotted earlier.
Big embrace.
Trying to figure out where to go in this mount-up
just
finish.
Like we were. Just stuck on the wrong side of fences.
It's a little bit of a shit show up here, let's be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, Vingegaard, he's given it as much as he can, I think podium... Before the start, it was either going to be, we thought, all or nothing. He's either winning this thing or nothing. But to hang on and fight for the tour and just hang on for the podium, maybe seal a podium, hopefully.
He looks shattered.
He looks shattered.
Matteo's just rubbing his shoulders. Yeah. We ran in some Danes on the race course today because we drove the whole race course today.
Yeah.
Drove over the Bonnet.
Had a great time.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Incredible up there. And ran into some Danes, and we're obviously they're saying they're Vingegaard fans, and they're also saying, well, we're kind of, this year's probably not the one. And they knew this even before today's stage, right? But next year, no crash, comes back full strength.
A real rivalry.
This is what rivalries are made of.
I think Vingegaard is quite upset at the moment. From what we can see on the screen, he's having some extensive hugs from his partner, crying, I think. I think this could be the moment that the Tour de France finally feels that it might have slipped out of his grip.
Yeah.
I mean, he had no response today, right? Like Pogačar just took a huge amount of time. It is an insurmountable lead today, unless something horrible happened to Pogačar tomorrow. Knock on wood. Yeah, I mean, this feels a little bit like last year, stage 17, where Pogačar had his massive crack, and in one day it went from sort of possible to impossible.
Yeah.
And we saw a very similar kind of reaction from Pogačar at the top that day.
So yes, as you were saying, insurmountable lead. I think that brings Vingegaard close to about 5 minutes deficit to Pogačar. So yeah, I mean, barring disaster, the Tour is over, but with 2 more stages to come, which should provide some intrigue and some... Oh, there we go. We got actually the general. Yep, 5 minutes, 3 seconds Vingegaard. Evenepoel, 7 minutes, 1 second.
I think we're going to go try to get ourselves into an evacuation off the top of this mountain. We might be doing some podding from a stationary vehicle on the way down the mountain, because there's going to be a lot of stationary vehicle stuff happening. And then we're off to Nice.
Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go. Into the Tour.
Finishes in sight for everyone.
Yeah. We'll be back in just a second. Welcome back. We are now in a line of traffic.
About 500 meters away from where you last heard us.
Yep.
But you have to get in the traffic queue, otherwise there's more traffic for you. There's always traffic. It just depends on how much traffic you can personally take on a daily basis.
We want to be at the front of the traffic, not the back of the traffic.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, so we've had a little bit of time to digest now what we just saw. Thoughts? Emotions? Smells?
Few smells today.
Yeah.
It's been quite a smell-free day.
Fresh alpine air. It's been lovely.
Smells.
Limited
Exhaust.
Smells. Exhaust. Oh, man.
I'm about to sit on some dead bugs on the front of the thing.
Yeah.
Brakes.
Smell of
breaking brakes.
clutch.
Yep. No, let's stick with the bike race for a little while. So, yeah, you've had a moment to digest what we just saw. I think we talked a little bit about the dominance. We talked a little bit about Vingegaard being quite sad. What else can we take out of today's stage? I mean, the sort of Pogi the killer, right? Like that to me is sort of the overarching thing in the last week or two is like he's not given any gifts to anybody. He took the stage win today, chased down Matteo Jorgensen, was concerned that Jorgensen was actually catching him, said his legs were kind of going at the end there.
Yeah,
kept looking back. Like he wants to dominate.
Yeah, we spoke about the revenge tour, but it's more, I mean, our colleague Kate Wagner sort of, one of the forefront of the thinkers about the Slovenian dynamic in cycling, at least in the English-speaking world. And she was saying that maybe because Pogačar sort of rose to dominance and the top so early in his career, and because he kind of looks the same as he did when he was first winning, that we've maybe infantilized him for a while. Yeah. And are we going in the evac? Nope.
No.
Sorry.
No, just the car in front of us turning on.
And the thing is, in that time from when that first Vuelta to this tour, he's won 2 tours and lost 2 tours. And so within that, you've become the champion. You've seen someone else become the champion, and then you think about legacy. You think about your status in the sport. You think about how long your career is, and like we heard him in the interview talking about, well, I'm glad I've won 4 stages this year because now I'm averaging 3 per edition.
These are the things he cares about.
The thing is, when you're that much better, then that's the level that you think on. You don't think on the level of this one Tour de France. You think of the next 5 Tours de France and what you can achieve in totality.
And I just feel like we like the infantilization thing is an interesting point. I'm not sure I'd go quite to that level of it, but we do. This is
we
the
lap
jokester.
up his whimsy and memes
Exactly. And we kind of assume that he is just in it for the fun of it. And I think he's more of sort of the traditional champion than we sometimes have thought. And I think that we're seeing that in this tour for the first time. I think that losing 2 Tours de France really may have changed that in him. Or maybe he was always this way. I don't know. But yeah, he's come out of it, and he seems like he's riding kind of angry, which is not what you would have said 4 weeks ago.
Well, riding angry, but looking so calm, relaxed, comfortable up the climbs while just dropping and catching everyone.
Yeah.
Like, just never seen anyone look that comfortable while riding to victory in that manner. I mean, even Vingegaard to some extent wrestles with the bike. But with Pogačar, it's just, it's bike and human at one, and it's just ticking down the clock, really.
Vingegaard is a perfect example of how a rider who is riding well actually looks better on the bike than a rider who is not riding well. Because Vingegaard last year looked better on the bike than he looked this year.
Big time.
Right? Teams are starting to go.
That's a good sign.
Josh, you cover lots of non-cycling sports. Is this dynamic something that you've come across before? Sort of the young champion who, I don't know, gets meaner and meaner as he gets older?
Well, actually, I was going to say it's not a young champion. He's actually behaving a lot like an old champion. And for me, there's a lot of Novak Djokovic about him right now in the way that, he's not hiding that he's thinking about his legacy. He's thinking about records. And already, he's only 25 and Novak was 35 before he was starting to act this way. But the idea that you only get out of bed for the really big stuff. He doesn't care about how many tours of the Basque Country or Paris-Nice he wins.
I mean, he will win them if he's there.
He will, but what he's about is he knows the history of the sport. He knows what makes all-time greats.
Yeah.
And that is his stated goal at this point.
My thought when we were talking about this sort of legacy stuff was straight after this year's Super Bowl when Patrick Mahomes immediately started talking about the next year's one. Where it's when you're that level of athlete that you think in eras rather than years, and that's the sort of thing you're thinking about how you are defined not amongst your peers but amongst the sport.
That's really new for him. I mean, we used to call him the accidental champion, right? It almost seemed like he did it by accident, and I think that this is the first year where we're seeing no, he didn't do it by accident, and
finally tuned with the team, done some new things.
They've made a whole bunch of changes to the team in the last year, 18 months. And all that stuff is purposeful, and it is designed to let him win and allow him to win this bike race. It's not by accident, even though for whatever reason we sort of gave him that, we gave him that, like it was, like he wasn't optimizing in the way that others were.
Right. It's new that he's showing it. But I think anyone who grows up to be that kind of champion and that level of champion has been thinking about it since, the first time he won a bike race.
Yeah.
Simultaneously to that, we are talking about Pogačar as if he is, going to win the next however many tours.
Yeah, you never know when someone's...
And that is the way that you often talk about the champion of the moment. But next year, Jonas Vingegaard presumably will be better. He won't be recovering from a horrible crash. He will have a better team with him. They will have done the work to make sure that this doesn't happen again, which sets up next year as a pretty tantalizing prospect because it's unlikely to be as much of a exercise in dominance for Tadej
straightforward.
Pogačar.
Champion du moment. The other thing is that he was asked whether tomorrow would be a day for the breakaway, and he said, yeah, but you never know. Which is,
not what the breakaway wants to hear.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, even today, right? Came pretty close. Jorgensen got caught, under 2K to go?
20-second the gap.
Came in 20 seconds behind. Yeah. Both of them were struggling a little bit. Yeah, you're never safe. You're never safe in this tour.
And he probably finally feels totally comfortable with that 5-minute gap, I think, Pogačar. There's probably always lingering in the back of your mind. You never know what Grisham and the boys are going to cook up. But now, I think he probably feels like as long as he stays upright, everything's good.
It is kind of interesting tactically that Visma sent a couple of guys up the road and then didn't use them as a springboard for Vingegaard.
Well, there's nothing to spring off, really, because Vingegaard, I think this was Neiman talking afterwards.
He had Remco as a teammate today.
Yeah. Well, and Neiman was saying that Jonas had already said on the bonnet that he wasn't feeling great. And so then when he said that, they kind of knew that then Pogačar would attack because he would have sensed that weakness. And so from the start of the day, I think they realised that these would be satellite riders / a chance to reward the teammates with a potential victory.
Yeah.
But, for Visma, today was only about potential. It wasn't about an actual plan that they thought could work.
Yeah. Jorgensen was pretty gutted at the finish line. I mean, obviously he would be, right? Second place again. And he did mention all the hard work that Kelderman had done in that break for him. And so I think they pivoted to stage win mode pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. I think they probably did that right around the bonnet. Pogačar also mentioned the fact that he was expecting Vingegaard to attack bonnet, actually, and that never happened either. So I think when that didn't happen, Pogačar probably knew that all he'd do was wait around for his sort of 5-6K to go, attack, wait until it got steep here on Isola 2000, and then hit the go button.
I've just seen a Groupama FDJ
Kenton
rider. Yeah, I think that is
Kenton
Pasha. I think that is Pasha. Just go over to the Haribo sort of like Ford, Isuzu D-Max truck and get a bunch of Haribo sweets out for himself.
But they've been negotiating a little deal here.
Oh yeah.
Pampache and the Haribo truck did a candy for bidons deal.
Ah, the famous candy for bidons. Last year we also saw some candy for musettes. Sort of like there was one where the caravan went right past all the buses in the paddock, and there was so much sort of cross. I
mean, these are the two currencies of the tour.
Yes.
I don't know if this made it into the final pod, but the EF media team got an absolute stitch up from a caravan folk who offered Tour de France merch in exchange for bidons, and then ran off without completing their side of the deal.
How fuming were Johannes and Matthew Voden?
They were pretty cross.
Yeah, I bet.
As they should be.
Yeah.
Should we switch to Wibes?
Yes.
We drove the whole course today. It was great.
Great. So
Loved
much fun. I was in the car with Josh Robinson, who could translate the Best Sign of the Day award, which we've been running for now 2 days. I wouldn't have noticed known what it said if I'd gone past, but luckily.
We saw, you would think they were FDJ fans, but maybe they actually hate FDJ or feel very let down by FDJ, because we saw...
Who wouldn't this year?
David Gros Cul.
And what does that mean?
It means large ass.
Ironically, tiny ass.
He has a very tiny ass.
Also got dropped by Nils Pollitt on a climb today, so that kind of sums up his tour.
I think it's sort of an allegory for the size of their disappointment.
Oh, I see. Okay. The size of his performance is a large ass. Yeah, fair enough.
What else did we see today? I mean, the bonnet was incredible.
Unreal.
Like, we drove above tree line for like 15K.
Yeah. We were trying to figure out or describe exactly what is nice about these mountains. It's where you have the road and it kind of winds through, and there's sort of vegetation fields on either side, so there's like a lot of space, and also that you can get vantage points where you can see like a good like kilometer maybe of road, so you can see the race approaching. And then you also have this sort of strata of you have tree line, you then have sort of a plain or plateau, and then you get the more lunar stuff right at the top where it's like otherworldly. And it was just great. We were just there, just every different corner. It was just a Geraint Thomas-esque foch.
Yeah,
it was great.
And it also seems like the entire population of Denmark is here.
Oh my, so many Danes.
So many Danes.
So many Danes.
I mean, not that surprising, right? A lot of Slovenians too. We're not that far from Slovenia.
No, but we thought maybe the Slovenes had used all of their holiday on the Giro already. So,
yeah, possibly.
I'm enjoying the undercurrent of chaos that's happening here with all these people riding up one direction. Really good dog walking past. It's a big... is that a golden retriever or a Labrador?
That's a golden retriever.
Golden retriever.
Really good golden retriever.
It's a sort of quiet chaos though, because everyone knows that chaos is about to happen, but we're like just ahead of it.
The chaos has begun.
Unfortunately, that's the second best golden retriever.
So we've just had Cofidis drive past. Cofidis doesn't look like they have a lot of fun. I know that we're going to do some vibes-based assessments of the various teams, and we'll have things to say about them. Any friends in the
No,
area?
that was that. He's the boss of AG2R. He's in that car there driving. Vincent Lavenue. Thank you, Josh.
Mr. AG2R.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the important people evacuation is now happening.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The man in front, the partner for Jules, really thinks he's getting in this pile, and he is absolutely not.
Fun fact about Vincent Lavenue.
Oh yeah.
He's done more than 30 Tours de France.
Oh yeah.
And refuses to not drive his own car.
I love that.
Which is not. You can't be a director and drive anymore. It's like it's against the rules.
Oh, so the other person is technically
the director.
But man wants to be in the race. Man wants the quarterback from the car.
It's probably reaching across and grabbing the microphone from the person that is technically the director.
Yes.
What else did we see? We stopped for lunch. We had a delicious pizza.
We had a surprisingly good mountain pizza. Probably because we were so close to the Italian border today, so we think maybe there's enough influence there, and a good espresso, I would say, even though Iain disagrees.
Well, Ian's Melbourne.
It was good enough for Phil Lowe and the other Soudal Quickstep staff.
Iain also threatened me with maybe not being Melbourne.
Yes. Well, no, actually, his wife did.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
She was getting some Sydney vibes from you, Caley.
I first of all, I'm insulted. Second of all, I'm not even sure why I'm insulted, but I just am.
It's not an insult. It's just different. We drove
I'm Sydney apparently. So what's there to be insulted about, Caley? Come on.
We
Join
drove
me.
past some Australians on the side of the course, and I just dangled out the window and yelled Melbourne or Sydney, and they were horrified with the question because they said they were from the Gold Coast.
Josh was quite horrified by your just incessant waving in the car, Ian, today.
Okay. So we've got some good new techniques.
We were playing games.
We were playing games.
I see.
It's
Okay,
not,
fine.
It's not incessant waving if
For no point.
there is movement.
There's cars moving. I think we should go. Welcome back, everybody. Where are we, Johnny?
We've got to Nice. The driving is over. Things are looking up for everyone. It's nice and hot. There's the ocean. We've just had a lovely meal. Ian is the hero of the day for running back to the car
The
and getting
hero
the SIM
of the
card.
day. We got to stage
The SIM card,
19
the-
before forgetting a SIM card.
Not the SIM
Or
card.
not SIM card.
Memory
SD
card.
card.
SD card.
Yeah.
Ian, chapeau. Chapeau of the day to Ian.
My voice has been slowly failing throughout the day, so apologies in advance.
Well, okay, shall I take us through some of the talking points then?
Yeah.
And then you can chip in instead with little snarky comments.
Yeah.
This is not snarky, though. It's actually great news for the bike race, all caps. Richard Carapaz is in the polka dot jersey, which we didn't really realise until we were heading down the mountain. Based on his breakaway exploits, the massive 40 points at the top of the bonnet. And he's got about a 14-point lead over Pogačar in that competition, maybe more. There's 3 Cat 1 climbs tomorrow, I believe.
Yep.
And then a Cat 2 on the time trial. So if Richard Carapaz gets himself in the break, or if no one who's a breakaway threat goes away tomorrow,
He's
then
got it.
we could actually have a winner of the polka dot jersey who's a winner of the polka dot jersey. We did have that last year, but
Yeah.
it just feels like we haven't for a while.
And however will they get a polka dot bike here? We'll never know.
Stay tuned. Next up,
That may have been some foreshadowing.
I'm looking down today's stage results to see if we had any riders finish outside the time limit. We did. Arnaud Demar.
Rough.
Actually swashbuckling Frenchman, because in the release of the Arkea B&B Hotels kit at the start of the year, he was actually carrying a sword, which is the
great.
definition of swashbuckling, I think. But maybe you have to be on a ship. But sad for Demar, although it means he doesn't have to ride tomorrow or a time trial, so maybe good for Demar.
Little blessing in disguise for our boy.
Yeah. Mark Cavendish finished dead last inside the time limit alongside Cheesebowl and Davide Ballerini. One last job completed, but they are getting to the finish.
I had a chat with Cheese Bowl the other day.
You did. Are you going to
The-
scoop yourself, or are you going to save for the article?
Well, look, at this point in the tour, there are many stories on my to-do list, and some of them might just never be done.
Okay.
But
You can save that. I can see reading that in November.
November?
Yeah.
No, my appetite for writing things just really dwindles as soon as the tour's done. So,
Okay.
so the little scoop is that, contrary to his fan club telling me that his name was actually Cheese Bowl in their local dialect, he told me it is Cheese Sandwich, which is quite different but no less funny.
Cheese Bowl, you can see being similar to his body type, maybe. Because he's a larger gentleman, because he's a lead-out sprinter.
But
Cheese
you
sandwich
also-
is sort of diminutive, no?
Excuse me, you cannot serve soup.
You
out
could
of
serve
case
soup
bowl.
out of
What are we
case
talking
bowl,
about?
100%. What would you like
Sorry.
to talk about?
I would like
to
to
go
know
back
if
to
this
the
is
bike race.
if this is EF's best tour.
Ever?
Yeah.
Pierre Roland probably
Sta-
finished 8th or something once.
Stage win, yellow jersey, polka dots.
Yes,
Potentially.
Then. Yes, then. If they do it. If they do it, yeah.
Our brave boys.
Our brave pink boys. Yeah. Hopefully that means they have a bigger party than they had planned.
We're still trying to get in.
We are trying to get in.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Maybe
that
we'll
not
get
fun?
bumped if they have their biggest victory ever, because other people want to go.
That's true.
Damn it.
Ah.
Before we get to anything else on our list,
Okay.
can we set the scene here? Because we set the scene at the top of the mountain.
Ian?
We need to set the scene here.
We're in Nice, aren't we?
Yeah, at a restaurant.
We're in a restaurant in a sort of square kind of thing. There were some recent buskers. They
Let's
had
give it to
some-
Josh, who's
Sorry,
got the local
Josh
knowledge.
is a local, yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, over to you, Josh. Josh, why aren't you talking, Josh? Come on, Josh. Say something. Why won't you say something, Josh?
It's because we're sharing mics and Ian's playing a silly game.
Now that I have a microphone, yes, I'm from just down the coast in Antibes, and I can tell you that we are off Nice's Place Masséna,
Nice.
which is kind of the kind of bustling central square. We're just inland from the Promenade des Anglais. Pebble Beach is out there. The Hotel Negresco down the block. It's all
Being
very
stared
good.
at by many people out there.
We're being
Good
stared
vibes.
at, but that's what
As
happens.
normal.
We're on the Côte d'Azur. You're here to get stared at.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, if you're lucky. Well, or unlucky, probably, actually.
But it's a balmy night, and we know that we have no driving ahead of us.
No, and also our waiter turns out to be the biggest cycling fan ever, who has shared multitudes of information with you, Josh.
Multitudes. And I wrote a story in my publication.
You can say it. It's not a secret.
Trying not to advertise it to certain people who may be around us.
Oh, yes. Fair enough. Good point. Well made.
But I wrote a story about how for a lot of the peloton, this weekend is home roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They live in Monaco, they live in Nice, and Tadej Pogačar in particular, who lives in Monte Carlo, is a well-known character on some of these roads, especially the Col d'Ez. I've personally seen him. I think, as I mentioned, maybe earlier
Yeah,
in
I
this
think
podcast.
he did. Yeah.
Because Caley brought it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. That part of the podcast seems like it was days ago.
Yeah.
um,
I think it was literally yesterday, but yeah. It was.
Today. It was today.
Oh, was it today?
Yeah, it was today.
was 6 hours and about 4 months ago.
Oh my god. Okay.
This is the Tour de
Sorry.
France for us.
But
We're not cracked anymore. We've uncracked,
uncracked,
but we're
and-
still in
yeah.
sort of time warp.
Wait. He
I'd say we're like that Japanese pottery style where we are cracked and then we're
Yes.
refashioned with gold to become a more beautiful
Not gold,
form.
though.
We are kintsugi.
Yes, Kintsugi, very good.
Very good.
Um,
Sorry, you're Col d'Azur.
So yeah, I've seen Tadej up there once, but our waiter says he's seen him up there 6 or 7 times, and I'm beginning to think that like a Tadej sighting on Col d'Ez is like an Elvis sighting. It's like everyone has one.
Our waiter is very excited that we are here working the bike race.
Every time he walks past, he has a new
Yeah.
cycling nugget to share with us,
Such as
such as
Lenny Martinez.
he told us where Lenny
You now
Martinez
know where-
lives.
we now know
which
where
is
he lives.
in the area because he follows all of them on Strava.
We saw most of Lenny Martinez today.
Yeah. He had
In a
his top
van.
off in the van.
That's right.
Scrolling
Yep.
Instagram.
But he was also excited to tell us that Lenny Martinez had moved up in the GC today, has at least 20 guys behind him now.
At least.
No, this is a quote from our waiter. This is not me.
We should get him on the pod, is what we should do.
He speaks
Yeah.
no English.
Yeah, no.
That's fine.
And also he was very excited by Carapaz looking good in week 3 to tie it back to the bike race.
Well, speaking of the bike race, Jonas Vingegaard has conceded defeat to Tadej Pogačar today after the stage,
Oof.
which seems unnecessary, but also probably something that has to happen.
I actually
Yeah.
think that this is Visma Lisa Bike's latest tactic.
Ah.
So they're just going to go on full-blown attack tomorrow. Tadej Pogačar's just going to be taking it easy, and Visma's just going to...
Johnny, I disagree that this is something that has to happen. This is not an election. He doesn't have to like get his supporters together and like put away the confetti and be like, we ran a good race. We still believe in this campaign and our project for America.
So you're saying it's the equivalent of when Michael Scott says out loud, I declare bankruptcy. That's what he's done.
It's exactly that.
Nice. Just to clear up our other GC chat for the day, we have a new old Mayo Sabler. It's only Enric Mas is back in the hot seat.
Love it.
1 hour, 5 minutes, 32.
Enric Menos?
Enric Menos. Well, maybe he can get himself in the brakes and he gets out of it and then the time trial puts him back in it. Could be the other contenders now. We'll go through that, okay. 19th, Louis Meintjes, 59.26. So he's not going to be it, probably. 18th, Jai Hindley, 45 minutes, 18 seconds. Probably not.
No.
Richard Carapaz, 40 minutes, 31. So probably not. So it could... I don't know who it could. It could be between Meintjes, Mas... Then Wilco Kelderman's the other side, 1 minute 12.
I could see
19
Carapaz
seconds.
going up and taking a couple points tomorrow and then losing half an hour. So
could be him.
could happen.
A polka dot Mayo Sabler. Which is higher on the hierarchy of ASO? Which do you wear instead of the other?
I-
Do you think it's polka dot?
It's probably the polka dots. It's probably why we won't see Carapaz in the Mayo Sabla in Nice on Sunday.
Damn it. Fine.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people were entranced by my racing analysis of the fringes of the top 10 yesterday.
You also did correctly predict that Pogačar would only go on the last climb when I pushed back and was like, no, it'll be a longer range one. So
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
But I would like to say that Steph Crass, who was a big mover and shaker yesterday, fell 3 places today. So
bummer.
Steph Crass
Come
watch
on,
continues
Steph Crass.
unabated.
But I would also say that my nice friend at Total Energies this morning was like, you see, we are the best French team. And just quickly scanning
Are
through.
you now just Pravda for Total Energies?
No, but
I think
GC
Iain
wise.
works for L'Equipe now.
And GC wise, he's quite wrong because they are the 3rd best French team.
Ian,
that's brutal.
Ian, you know also that Total Energies are what some may call a problematic fave.
They're
Yeah.
probably the same to you guys.
You don't care.
I think that
They're a problematic fave. They supply the Russians with gas.
What they have in
Well, they did.
Russian oil money, they make up for by looking like they've fallen into a crayon factory explosion.
Good old actual sports washing. Well done, Steph Crass. Maybe Ian will be
Slightly
the
worse
bouquet
than
of
yesterday.
flowers. I think because we didn't.
The Steph Crass segment, just to be clear, is what
Steph
happens
Crass
when I'm
corner.
not running the podcast anymore.
Well, no, we actually had it yesterday as well. I think you just tuned out.
As you should have. We've had quite a lot of Steph Crass talk because he
have.
also has a very good dog, who I'm led to believe will be back in Nice.
Thank God.
So we might do a little interview with Pom the Pomeranian.
I reckon the Yates' dog might be here as well, so you can
Which
catch
one?
up with. I don't know. Don't care. We should do some extra long after dark because we didn't do any yesterday. Sorry about that. We were just
Yes, why
getting
don't we
our
head to After
things
Dark
on.
right now?
Before that, should we throw to Jose Ben, who we actually saw today?
We did. We gave her a hug.
Yeah, she was there, waiting for the caravan. Wrote a piece actually on escapecollective.com.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's the one that has Haribos as the first word.
And
Can't miss it.
Havoc, Haribo and Havoc.
Woo.
I'm imagining like a Haribo like t-shirt gun on the caravan, just like spraying out Haribo.
Well, before we wrap up today, we need to hear about what Jose's got to say about tomorrow's stage.
One more big mountain stage to go in the amazing Mercantour National Park. First, we start in Nice. And Nice is old, very old. There are traces of human or hominid, so that is even pre-Homo sapiens, inhabitation dating back almost 400,000 years, although there is controversy. Other scientists claim it's only 230,000 years old. But let's just say, it's pretty old. The Terra Amata, or Beloved Land, is an archaeological site where ancient Paleolithic tools were found, and some of the earliest traces of domesticated fire for cooking and heating in Europe were discovered. The settlement included huts on the beach and was discovered in 1966. Scientists have a theory that the settlement of Terra Amata is one of the oldest man-made habitations in Europe. The Museum of Human Paleontology can be found on the exact place in the city centre of Nice, close to the well-known Promenade des Anglais. Like many settlements on the Mediterranean, the Greek had a stronghold in Nice, and also gave it its name. Around 350 BC, they founded Nikaia, after Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. They'd just beaten the Ligurians, that's why they used the name. After the start in Nice, we go to the Parc National de Mercantour, created in my year of birth, 1979. It's one of 11 national parks in France, 3 of which are overseas in Réunion, Guadeloupe and Guyana. It is home to the Mercantour Classic, a relatively new race on the French National Cycling Cup calendar. This year, we had the 4th edition and it was won by Lenny Martinez. The other 3 winners are Guillaume Martin, Jakob Fuglsang and Richard Carapaz. Just like stage 20 in the Tour de France, this one-day race features the Col de Turini, Col de la Colmillan and Col de la Couillole. When racing through this national park, you still see the damage of a storm 4 years ago. On the 2nd of October 2020, a massive storm called Alex occurred over the Tinée, Roya and Vesubie valleys. The rare intensity of this event led to the death of 10 people and left 8 missing. It transformed the landscape of the valley floor, destroying houses and infrastructures. According to Météo France, this event reached rainfall levels of 500 to 600 millimeters in 24 hours above the valleys of the Roya and Vesubie rivers. And this almost equals the annual rainfall in those valleys. Rainfall of this magnitude is estimated to happen once every 1,000 years. And the damage was enormous, and it's still very much visible. An estimated amount of roughly 1.5 cubic kilometers of sediment transported downstream the river, and that is comparable to about 400 Olympic swimming pools filled with sediment. All these sediments, coupled with the water's power, contributed to the destructive power of the Vesubie River during this storm in 2020. It washed away many of the alluvial terraces on the valley floor, and some of which sadly contained homes and other structures. Roads and bridges were also severely damaged. Luckily for our riders, those have been repaired, but the inhabitants of these valleys still think of those October days quite often and see the damage every day. When you live in the mountains, the beauty, but also the power of nature, is omnipresent.
For the people that are freeloaders, that it is the final stretch to get our $1 promotion
Yeah.
It is.
for Escape Collective membership. $1 to be an Escape Collective member. You can lock that in, and that's good for a month. So you have enjoyed all of this up to now.
Yeah.
You can get in, and you can lock in that $1 price until a month from now. That is
Well-
outstanding value.
And what I will say is that this isn't the only stuff that's going to be hidden behind the paywall. We've got plans to try
I'm going
and
to tell you the
milk
horrible
further.
things that my American, my compatriot in the table next door said in After Dark today.
Oh, no.
I was thinking more positively in terms of we've got like mini podcast series coming up in the coming months. But
I'm going to tell you what he did.
see, this is what happens when you have to do the little hosting bit anymore. Is that you get to actually speak your mind. It's freeing, isn't it?
It's very
Free
free.
yourself.
It's very
okay,
free.
are we ready to go to After Dark then?
I think, yeah, sorry.
So we've got Caley's American corner, and then we have
I also have a little American corner.
Slovenian tax authority
I
stuff.
think one of them accidentally ordered something gross.
Oh,
but
good.
didn't want to admit that they had
Wait,
accidentally...
the people next to me?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, well, we'll get to that.
They had some raw cow they didn't want to eat.
No, that's After Dark here, Caley.
You don't God damn. Right. See you tomorrow, freeloaders.